What's up, good Vipo? Let me know that you can hear me in the chat by typing Hump Day or Hey Vale. Hump Day or Hey Vale in the chat to let me know that you can hear me while the intro plays.
Hey, poppin' like I'm supposed to. Watch out for the people that ain't close to. Speak a little something you could toast to. I ain't tryna hear about what you won't do. Moving like I'm into. Hit the ground running like the rent do. Speak a little something that you're into. I ain't tryna hear about what you been through. Like hold up, say what's the hold up. I got the pack, who got the roll up? I'm tryna pull up. It seem like every time I show up, it gotta go up. See the drip, they see the glow up. Oh, now they know us. See, it's funny how my pockets out of shape, but I fit for the flex. Clear the phone call, hit my chick with a text. Parlay through the bird with my drip from the jets. Save a couple hundred by your with the rest. I prefer my reefer with Henny and Coke. Please don't be stingy, got plenty to smoke. Show up and act up and back to the crib. I do not stun, I just rap what I live. Seem like they doing the most for the clout. Did what I said so they know what I'm about. Show up and act up and back to the crib. I do not stun, I just rap what I live. Hey.
All right, what's up, good Vipo? Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me in the chat. Shout out to our channel member, Madam X and Shanice, and everyone else in the chat who is letting me know that you can hear me. So today we're doing an afternoon show because I do have evening plans, but tomorrow we do have an evening show that we will be doing as well. We are back with our weekly live streams multiple times a week. But today, what we have for you, those of you who are able to join this afternoon, hey, Michelle, ATLN as well. So the first story we have is Chris Carroll and the update on him. He's related to the Andre Montgomery, Tim Norman trial regarding his nephew who was unalived. Then we have a trending creepy AI story that I wanted to share. A couple things I've been seeing with this AI technology and how it's going too far. It's going too far, and I'll show you. Then we're going to talk about 50 Cent and his son a little bit. The most recent post from 50 Cent regarding his son. An update on a legendary singer, Freddie Jackson. And then the last segment of the show, we will be, we got so much to catch up on and cover as it pertains to Darius Cooks. And so we'll be talking about the latest update in regards to his claim that he is the first soul food restaurant opening in Bali, Indonesia. So we'll, of course, be debunking yet another lie of his. Thank you to the 88% of you who have liked and shared this video already. Shout out to the Facebook fam and Twitter as well. If you haven't hit that like button or shared this content, please do so as soon as you can. It is free to you, but it is invaluable to me and the growth of my platforms. And it's invaluable to my future generation and children as well. They're saying thank you in advance. Welcome, Saint Center. Oh, I forgot I'm not on that chat. Welcome as a new channel member, Saint Center. Okay, so moving into our first story that I prompted a little bit. Are you familiar with who Chris Carroll is? Poll question coming your way. Are you familiar with who Chris Carroll is? This dude right there. If you are not familiar, Chris Carroll was, now I was going to say is or was, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's a was kind of situation now. But he was actually a friend of James Timothy Norman, who is known from Welcome to Sweetie Pies. He is the son of Miss Robbie Montgomery. And some of you may be aware that in 2016, his nephew was unalived in the streets of St. Louis. Fast forward a few years later, about 4 years or so later, through investigation, it was determined that Tim Norman was the person who had his nephew unalived. He did a M for hire plot to have him unalived. And Chris Carroll, where he comes into play, is he has a criminal past. He's a felon, and he and Tim Norman met in prison. Through their friendship that they started in prison, it extended outside of prison. And so when Chris Carroll got out, Tim Norman got him a job at the restaurant, and he was his running buddy. And rumor is that he also served as kind of a unofficial bodyguard of sorts. So when it comes to the Andre situation, Chris Carroll is the person who went to the ultimate executioner and told him that James Timothy Norman wanted his nephew unalived, and that he was trying to find out how much money James Timothy Norman would have to pay to unalive his nephew Andre Montgomery. Now it's a little loosey-goosey because in trial, people start changing up their stories and stuff a little bit. Everybody trying to, point the finger the other way. But it is alleged that he was a part of he was the one that initiated the conversation that caused all of this to go down. During the trial, the other thing is that when he was supposed to testify during the trial, he got up there on the witness stand and basically refused to answer 99.9% of the questions. The only questions that he would answer is if his name, his age, and his marital status. Every other question after that, he was pleading the fifth. When they asked him if he actually knows James Timothy Norman, he said, "I plead the fifth." He didn't even want to claim knowing the man. Now, he didn't rat it on him, but he didn't want to even admit knowing him. When he was asked if he knew of Miss Robbie, he said he pled the fifth. When he was asked if he actually ever worked at the Sweetie Pies restaurants, he pled the fifth and a bunch of other stuff. So what they said after a while of this ongoing, because it was probably like 15 questions or so, 10, 15 questions that the attorneys were often asking, and he was just pleading the fifth. And it was Tim Norman's attorney. And then at a point, they're like, well, okay, can you force him to answer questions? Because he testified, not testified, but during the interrogation, he had cooperated. Of course, he got a deal, and now he won't say anything. And so his attorney was saying the reason why Chris Carroll would not admit to anything or recount what he had already said on during his interrogation is because he did not want that information to be used against him in his pending criminal trial that was coming up. At the time, we didn't 100% know. Well, during the trial itself, when he got up there for that, none of us in the audience knew what that meant. Like, what trial is he on? What's happening? Later, I found out it was related to a PP loan fraud. So that, now fast forward. So that was background. That was get you caught up to where we're at now. Fast forward, that trial, his criminal trial for the PPP loan frauds of over $3 million has officially happened, and he has officially been convicted of it. However, that is not all that he's been up to. Chris Carroll has been accused of being a part of a huge criminal enterprise connected to a timeshare scam. with a company that's called Square One Development Group. And in this particular fraud, which is separate from the PPP loan fraud, in this particular fraud, the Department of Justice, on the behalf of the Federal Trade Commission and Wisconsin Attorney General, filed a suit against him and 4 other business partners for scamming consumers, mostly seniors, out of more than $90 million in a massive timeshare exit scam. So it's one of those, it was a scam related to them trying, when people have a timeshare and they're trying to sell it and all of that. And somehow they were getting over on primarily seniors. $90 million worth of fraud. So that's that particular case, criminal charges and case is still pending. However, the one related to the PPP loan, let's get into that one. So Chris Carroll is accused of submitting applications for PPP loans, claiming that his wife and the wife of his friend were the people who owned the company. However, they did that because he is a felon and he could not legally be a part of the company, although it was his company. They said they did, he and his, here's his business partner here. I forgot his name. It'll come up somewhere. But he and his business partner, who I had to do a double check because I'm like, wait, is Chris Carroll on an oxygen tank? Because he wasn't during the trial, I know that much. But then after doing a couple, plus this guy got hair, I had to do a couple double takes, and I was like, oh, they two different people. They look similar though. They look like they could be brothers. So he and his business partner secured a $1.2 million in pandemic relief loans, and they were supposed to, of course, use the PPP loans was to pay payroll for your employees during the pandemic. But instead, he bought land and a truck to start a brand new trucking company. And he even applied for loan forgiveness, claiming the money went to his payroll, which was completely false. So he ended up purchasing land, a nice amount of land. He built this this trucking company, and it looks like they do repairs because it's called Whiskey Dick's Big Truck Repair. I have to slow down with it because if I say it too fast, I get a little tripped up and say stuff that might sound a little more vulgar. However, they're alleging that he did not just stop at the pandemic fraud. I got to put my glasses on because I can't see y'all live chat at all. His new trucking company was found guilty of violating the Clean Air Act 16 times. They are claiming that he removed emissions control equipment from the diesel trucks in an attempt to cut corners and save on fuel. And this was actually put in an article and everything. So he, in the local Missouri news, he had actually been featured a couple times from some of these scandals. And, you know, not only is that illegal, but it's also a direct threat to the environment as well. You're polluting the environment. Question is, do you know who Chris Carroll, aka White Boy Chris, is? 47% of you did know, 53% of you did not know who he was. So if you're aware of the Sweetie Pies coverage we've been doing over here for years now, literally for about 4 years, Chris Carroll is a major player in that storyline. So he's on your screen now. And this ain't, and this ain't over. So get used to him. Why is this? Hold on, I'm trying to put the next poll up. Hold on, y'all. I gotta retype this. It's too many characters. So should Chris Carroll, hopefully this will work. Yes. If there's a typo, forgive it. I'm doing this quick. Do you think that Chris Carroll should have also been charged for the unaliving of Andre Montgomery based on the information I told you as I was giving the background? Based on the fact that he was the person who actually initially communicated with the executioner. And because of that, it got the wheels turning. Of course, Tim Norman was orchestrating everything. However, do you think that based on his involvement, he should have also been facing charges for the Andre Montgomery unaliving? Now, we know that because of him snitching, that's how, they were able to get at Tim, which they consider to be their big fish, the prosecutors. But still, do you think that he should have faced at least some level of charges? So the other thing he's been accused of is witness tampering in relation to his case, his PPP loan fraud. They said that he took desperate measures and told one employee to take the fall for him, and threatened to stop paying another employee's legal fees if they cooperated with the FBI in regards to the investigation. And that's considered another serious federal fraud. And his intimidation tactics really just added to his already long list of charges. So as in relation to his friend, who is named George Reed, he pled guilty of bank fraud back in 2022 and then admitted to misusing the PPP loan. So it's kind of like karma. He flipped on his bestie, Chris Carroll flipped on his bestie, Tim Norman, in that trial. And in his criminal situation, his bestie flipped on him. Look at karma. Won't karma do it? Won't it every time? Karma never forgets an address, I tell you. So George Reed pled guilty to bank fraud in 2022 and then admitted to misusing the PPP loan money. And he acknowledged that they failed to pay the employees despite receiving the loans. However, as for Chris Carroll, a jury found him guilty on all counts from bank fraud to the Clean Air Act violations and the witness tampering. They got him on everything. Prosecutors are now seeking a significant prison sentence, and by law, Carroll will have to pay restitution of the money he's stolen from American taxpayers as well. So looks like a lot of karma to me. A lot of karma to me. Don Smart is saying, what business was Chris Carroll claiming? He had a trucking company. Poll question we're closing out is, should Chris Carroll have also been charged with the unaliving of Andre Montgomery? 95% of you say yes, and I'm 100% with y'all. I don't know what the 5% of y'all are thinking. Maybe you don't understand the question. Maybe you're taking the legal perspective. Well, they made a deal with him, so no. Maybe you're doing that. I'm speaking more from a moral standpoint. Should he have? Yes, in my opinion. And I was there at the trial and all that and heard all, the juicy tidbits, and I know other stuff too. Okay, next. Oh, let me see. Sorry, y'all. I'm a little off today, so I'm trying to yeah, I was trying to see if there was any comments related to it that I could give commentary on. But anyway, we're gonna move on, I think. Oh, okay. I see First Lady Brown. Let me get to the live chat over here. Hey, Precious. Long time no see, friend. Oh, now I can't find the comment. Where is the... Oh. You would have think... Oh, here it is. Didn't Chris Carroll spend a large amount of time in jail previously for drugs? He is a felon. He was in prison before, and that's how he met Tim Norman. So yes, those specific charges, I never really looked deeply into it. I do know that it has something to do with SA of a former girlfriend. But as far as the other stuff, I'm not 100% sure. I never really looked into. I kind of knew, I think, at a point, but it's been too many years and too much information in my head. So I don't know off the top of my head, but I definitely know the essay part of it was also there. Don Smartville, I found you when you started doing Sweetie Pie's reviews. Yes, so that was way back in 2020. That's a long time ago. Now it is. We've lived many lives over here in the fellowship since then. So next segment, poll question coming your way. Do you use ChatGPT? Do you use ChatGPT or other AI tools? I asked this question because AI at this point, ChatGPT for sure, is definitely a part of my workflow. I use it daily. When I'm creating these shows for y'all, I use it. It is like my virtual assistant. I love it. However, I'm starting to see things on social media, on my Twitters, etc. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Unveiled. And so I'm on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram and all of that. And so I've started seeing these videos regarding where they're manipulating, and they're deep fakes, where they have people looking like they're doing things that the real person hasn't done. So I ran into these. I ran into a couple. One of these I ran into a week ago, and the other one I ran into this morning as I was on our Patreon with our executive people, and they were just doing a work with me, watching in the background, and we were chit-chatting. And I ran into it on Facebook, and it startled and creeped me out at the same time. And so I was like, we got to talk about this today. So here's the first one. So there's a trend now on social media where there's some app, I don't know exactly how they're doing it, but there's some app, obviously, where you can take a photo, an old photo, and you can have it become live action. It can be live action movement, as if it's reenacting the moment that the photo was captured. Sounds like it could be cool, could be fun or whatever, but people are doing it with old pictures of people who may no longer be with us, and that gets a little creepy. And depending on the actions that it's making. So in this particular one here, a young lady posted a picture of her, and I'm assuming it's her granny. Well, it actually says, I just wanted to do the trend with my granny giving me a hug, but instead I got this. Hold on, let me take this down. This is what she got. I'll play it again, just in case you missed it. She turns around for Granny to give her a hug. The baby turns around, and it looks like a possessed infant. Craziness. Just in case y'all can't see it, it went so fast. Craziness. So that one I saw a week or so ago, and I was like, that is creepy. Something I would not be interested in playing around with. However, the one the one that we ran into this morning by accident scared me. I had to pray, y'all. And to pull out my sage. So in this one, it is I don't know what the relation is, but there's a woman, and the man, it's his obituary, and don't know how he passed away, don't know the background, but this is the trend of having an AI photo where they hug you. Ooh, it still gives me the chills. Gotta mute that music. He is coming out of the obituary with his wing. Oh, Jesus, so creepy. With his wings, I bind the devil. Oh, I bind the devil. Oh, y'all be doing too much. So I can't, man. Just can't. Poll question, we're closing out. Do you use Chat GPT or other AI tools? 66% of you say no. 34% of you say yes. I guess I'm not quite surprised. In my world, it feels like everybody I talk to uses it daily, but yeah, it makes more sense that the society as a whole probably has not gotten on the AI, the Chat GPT and AI trend like that. Would you dude, I'm just saying do this. Y'all know what I'm saying. Would you do this? Would you? Either of these. Well, mainly this one, because I could see playing around with an old photo, to see, somebody give a person a hug from a still photo. It's still very creepy. But this one here, I'm like, oh, Jesus. Y'all bringing people from the dead with the AI. No, thank you. Y'all can have this. Oh my God, it's so creepy to me. Okay, now I'm tired. I'm over it. I'm gonna end up having a nightmare. All the people who have gone in my life, I love you. I do miss you. I miss my best friend who passed away a little over a year ago now. But if we can't reverse time to before he passed away, I'm gonna just have to wait till I see him in glory. I don't need to be pulling out no obituaries, doing no AI and us hugging each other. None of that. None of it. No, thank you. Please don't come visit me. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, let's look at it. As far as AI, Madam X says, I use it daily for cute image creation. Yeah, I've been trying. I haven't yet been able to find a good. I don't know if I'm not using the right generators yet, but I haven't found one that quite does it in a way that works for me. Chat GPT for cover letters is great. Yes, I use it all the time. I use it mostly for writing the descriptions of these videos, getting title ideas. I use it for that. I love it. I ask it questions about how to do this or how to do that, for resources to give me a pathway to get stuff started. Nah, I miss my dad, but this will be a no for me. Right. That's how I feel about it. Right. That's too creepy. Absolutely not. No, this is creepy. The Bible says, let the dead bury the dead. Right. Right. The blood of Jesus. You use Bing. I've tried it. But I love Chat GPT more. I don't know why. The poll didn't show for me. Oh, it's probably glitching, friend. I can't control that, unfortunately. We've had that problem. Was about a year ago. It's been cool since then, but it's probably glitching again. Is Chat GPT an app? It is actually an app and a website. It is both. Alice Intelligent is the only one AI I use, right? I work in tech and I use it every day. It's a wonderful tool. People better learn how to use it because AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use it will. I would agree with that for sure. I understand why some people may use it, but I couldn't do it. Yeah, and everybody grieves differently and needs stuff differently. So in some ways, I'm joking. Have at it. Be you. Do you? It just won't be for me. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. 79% of you say that you would not do it. 21% of you say that you would. So again, no judgment. Have at it. It's just not for me. Please don't show it to me when you do it. That's all I'm saying. Just don't show it to me. But if you're interested in doing it, go to TikTok or wherever, or go to Chat GPT and research, how can I do the AI bring my loved one back to life from their obituary? After watching the Her movie, I'm still skeptical. I don't think I ever watched Her. I'm pretty sure I did. I meant it was on my list, but it never happened. Next poll question for our next segment is, hold on, y'all. My clicks are slow today. I'm a little slow. Have you followed the drama between 50 Cent and his oldest son over the years? 50 Cent is really always in the news, beefing with someone. And one of the people that he has beefed with on and off over the years is his very own son. So I happened to run into this post on Facebook, I don't know, last week sometime. And I just thought it was an interesting post in general that, applies to him in his real life situation. But I also just got to thinking about it in a, broader sense of people and their relationships with their children and spoiling children, et cetera, et cetera. So the post goes on to say 50 Cent says, my son Marquise is 27 and still asking for child support. I give him $10,800 monthly and he says it's not enough. Success cost me my relationship with Marquise. At 27, he should be ashamed to ask for child support. He thinks being 50 Cent's son means he doesn't have to work. I offered to set him up a business for him to earn $1 million a month. I wish, I wish I had a parent like that. But he refused. He has an entitlement mentality, thinking my money is his. It hurts to see him so irresponsible. I keep saying this publicly, hoping he'll be ashamed and start working. No matter how rich you are, never let your kids feel your money belongs to them. Moral lesson. Some of us at 17, we hustled on our own. I have been working since I was 13 years old. Sorry, my son, or not, I respect work. So I just thought it was interesting because I know people who aren't multimillionaires, who have children who are entitled, and all of that. And then there's the other part of the conversation of 50 Cent maybe a dad be dead on some level beside the financial side and what he may be exaggerating or lying about, et cetera, because his son has put him on blast. That part of the story I ain't quite revisiting today because I ain't had time to, or the interest really, to really research deeply that. But I was just curious of how y'all felt about this particular this particular post, or 50 Cent and this relationship with the son. Chocolate is saying he is 27. He should have a job, not get child support. Yeah, that's a little confusing too. I don't know if 50 Cent is saying he's just been continuing the child support, or is he considering allowance now child support? But I mean, I guess it's child support no matter. I mean, he's not a child, he's a man at 27. 27, he's way beyond a child. So man support. Sorry, scrub support. Maybe it's scrub support at this point. Now, why would someone refuse $1 million a year business? Now, I have heard the last iteration, and I don't know if this was the same business or not, but the last iteration I heard of something similar with 50 Cent's claim of this situation was he said that his son is a sneakerhead, and his son, was always asking him to buy sneakers, et cetera, et cetera. He spends a ton of money, like thousands per month on gym shoes. And so what he told his son is, because you're such a sneakerhead and you really love this, he ended up buying, I feel like he said this is what it was. 50 Cent said, I think I did this story last year too, because more details are coming to me. 50 Cent said there was a sneaker store in New York that was closing, or New Jersey somewhere. It was closing. And so he offered to buy the guy's entire inventory, the store owner. He buys the entire inventory. These are his claims again. And then he gets a semi truck and he ships the stuff off and puts it in a warehouse. He tells his son, I have now purchased like a ton of sneakers for you to be able to sell online. Since you love, sneakers, etc., make a business. I'm giving you the startup costs. I'm going to give you the know-how, et cetera, et cetera. I've already done this, and that for you. He said his son didn't want to do it. And so I don't know what happened to the business afterwards and all the inventory, but that was 50 Cent's claim. So I don't know if this is supposed to be the same $1 million a month business. I don't know. Oh, and you said Now, why would someone refuse 1 million a year business? He said per month, to quote him properly. Yes, business for him to earn $1 million per a month is what he says here. Not a year. I know that's in our terms. We thinking, oh, $1 million a year. That's pretty good. No, he said a month. That's why I'm like, oh, I wish I had that kind of backing. Wish somebody would teach me how to earn $1 million a month, and I'm gonna say no. But if you're entitled, you probably would. I can see it. I can see it. Well, why I gotta work at all? You rich. 10K a month will support me and my habits easily. Yeah, I can do okay. I mean, see, I don't believe him. Yeah, I don't know. I take it with a grain of salt as well, because there's always 3 sides to every story. His son has definitely come out blasting him before. So he was born in the wrong time. I was working at 15. He needs to be somewhere and watch Bill Cosby, where Vanessa told her parents, "We are rich." Right. Right. $1 million a month. You don't believe 50 either. Let's see how many people don't believe 50. Okay, let me change the poll question. Let me close this one out. Have you followed the drama between 50 Cent and his oldest son over the years? 54% of you have. 46% of you have not. Next question. We're going to ask this. I wasn't even thinking to ask this. Do you believe 50? Do you believe him? Because I'm starting to get a vibe here from the audience. Y'all like, sit down with your lying ass. I started working at 16. I'm old school. Yeah, I started working at really technically 15. And if you're those on Patreon, they know the story time. I told them the story time of how aggressively I went after my first ever job I got. My first interview I ever had was a hot mess. They know about that story too. Join Patreon if you want that kind of stuff. I talk about all that over there. I agree with 50 on this. Donald Trump is like he is because his dad gave him everything. I agree with that in part, but I do believe that Donald Trump still was going to be a horrible human being. But I think this definitely him, not having to work hard for anything definitely made it worse in some way. But I believe he still would have been a horrible human being. I just do. I believe some of his stuff is psychological, like mental. No financial assistance, $10,000 a month. What he doing right? From my understanding, 50 doesn't have a relationship with his son. He does not. But 50 is leaning towards this is the reason why he doesn't have a relationship with his son. Like, he don't want to work. He want me to just take care of him. Me. And his son, I can't remember, but I remember his son came out. I just can't remember what his son was saying, but basically he was a deadbeat. Besides his requirement to pay money, I think he wasn't there. I would be happy with $1 million a year. Hell, right. Exactly. I ain't gonna even be greedy and say I want it per month. A year be fine. I'll work it out. I'll turn that $1 million a year into, $1 million a month on my own. I get the rhetoric. However, if the child support is somehow in arrears, that support is old, no matter how old he is. Agree. Total. Oh, I didn't click on the comment. Totally agree. I don't think that's the case here. I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. It seems like 50 is insisting that he's just continuing to pay because he's such a great person. Because we've seen it so often. Right. Hell, 500. You settle for 500 a year. His dad is trying to teach him how to fish instead of giving him fish. Yeah, I mean, that would be the way. Owning a sneaker business is easy. Ain't no way his son would have said no unless he had some crazy requirements. He probably had that as well. We getting a version of. I'm sure there were additional requirements on it. But again, I know some very extremely lazy people. I know people who have had great opportunities, not $1 million a month, but I know people in my real life who have had opportunities and squandered them out of just pure laziness. They didn't want to do anything. So I can see this. I can definitely see him getting the opportunity to make $1 million a month. And he's like, why? I don't care. I got your money. I already got $1 million a month through your money. Right. Rosemary's Baby. Him and Master P's son need to get a place need to get a place together, right? That wouldn't even be a job. I've been working since you were 15. I don't believe the million per month part. I do believe the son might be draining his pockets. I don't think the son draining his pockets because I truly believe he would not even allow that. I just don't, based on what we see on 50, I don't believe nobody taking advantage of him. You have to know how to do things. Being a sneakerhead doesn't mean you can successfully run a bit. That part, that is very true. That part. And hey, Grissom Wave, it's been a minute, friend. Good to see you. Donald Trump stole from his siblings too. Did he? I guess I haven't heard, unless I'm forgetting. He only had one. Didn't he only have one brother? The brother who died, I think, from alcoholism, if I'm not mistaken. Did Donald Trump have more than one sibling? Alice? I know you know. Okay, last one, then I'm going to move on. 50 Cent has always talked trash about the oldest son, but love on his youngest son. There is no way he offered his son a job making that kind of money, and he turned it down. Yeah, again, so that leads us to this. Poll question, we're closing out. Do you believe 50? Oh, it's actually closer than I thought. 57% of you say no, though. 43% of you say yes. So it's pretty close, though. Pretty close. So I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting post in general, just in, terms of us, talking about people that or situations we've seen in our own lives with the youth. Poll question. For the next segment is, do you know who Freddie Jackson is? Do you know? I should put his picture up first, but do you know who Freddie Jackson is? Actually, if you need a point of reference like a picture, you don't really know who he is. You don't know. Could you show me a picture? I know if you show me a picture. You don't really know him then. So Freddie Jackson was in trending yesterday. I'll just say that. And not for such a great reason. Unfortunately, he has announced that he is dealing with some medical issues. And this comes off the heels of there was a video I saw, this actually was about a month ago, of him performing at one of his concerts. And it wasn't a really good performance, and people had a visceral reaction to it. And so here's one of his more recent concerts. Okay, for the sake of music, can't play. I've already probably played too much. Probably got to cut that out. But yeah, that was out a couple months ago, and I was immediately saddened. And I'm like, obviously, Freddie Jackson, no question, he's a legend. He's up there with Luther. I know, don't get started, y'all. Don't get started. We know it's Luther, and then Freddie. We do know this, but he's definitely one of the greats. He's put his time in. We definitely know he can sing. That's never been in question. But if he was having that level of a performance, it's clear that there was something happening medically, and that's how I looked at it. For me, it wasn't like, look at him now, he old, and look at it. It wasn't that at all. It was like sadness. And I was like, wow, there's really something obviously going on with his health. Well, on yesterday, he decided to publicly address what many have been speculating, and some knew about him having health issues. And here is his PSA.
Hey everyone, it's Freddie Jackson, and I hope you all are doing well today. I wanted to share something deeply personal with you. After a lot of thought and reflection, I've come to a point where I feel I'm ready to talk about a recent chapter in my life. I have been diagnosed with kidney disease. This journey has had its challenges, but I've decided to face it with openness and resilience. It's important to me that I share this with you, not just as a part of my personal story, but as a way to make a positive difference. I'm excited to let you know that I've partnered with the National Kidney Foundation. Together, we're working to raise awareness about kidney health and support for those who are affected by kidney disease. It's a cause that's close to my heart, and I hope our efforts will help shine a light on the importance of this issue. Your support has always meant the world to me. As I take this step, I'm turning my personal experience into a platform for greater understanding and advocacy. With your help, we can work towards better awareness and improved outcomes for everyone with kidney disease. Thank you for your encouragement, your love, and your support. It means more to me than I can express. From the bottom of my heart, I love you.
Oh, Freddie. But thoughts and prayers out to Freddie Jackson, hoping for healing and all of that with him. It's really sad, like, as we're getting older, those of us from that generation, that, a lot of our greats are aging, not only aging, which, aging is a part of life, but, to see some of them with their health declining. I've been seeing more and more stories like this. It's just, it's very heartbreaking. But our thoughts and prayers are definitely with Freddie Jackson. And, if you want to support the National Kidney Foundation to raise awareness and support for others affected by this condition, that's what Freddie Jackson is asking us to do. Not just feel sorry for him, but do something about it. Let's do our parts. Poll question we're closing out is, do you know who Freddie Jackson is? 96% of you do. 4% of you did not. Honestly, that's higher than I expected, only because I know we have a pretty diverse audience. That's good. See, that shows how big of an impact that he actually has. And the next poll question we have is, do you know Sassy Crooks? Nah. We're moving into our last segment of this midday show. That is the Darius Cooks section. And the poll question that's going out is, did you know that Darius Cooks is claiming to be building the first soul food restaurant in Bali? We know that he's been over there now since, let's see. He went over there originally in January, if I'm not mistaken. And he went over there for a vacation. It was his first time there in Bali. He signed up his friend signed him up for a cooking class. He and they all signed up for a cooking class. He goes to the cooking class. The cooking class had a field trip connected to it. And during the field trip, he ends up, the original van or whatever the most of the group was in, it was full to capacity. So he and his group ended up getting in the car with the instructor. As they're riding around with the instructors to the different markets, they get in a conversation where Crooks is saying, "Where's the soul food here?" The guy says, "Soul food? We don't have soul food." The guy's name is Tommy. And he was like, "Do you think people will eat soul food here?" He was like, "Absolutely, we would need that, blah, blah, blah." Long story short, Darius Cooks decides to become business partners with this guy who we now know as Tommy. Within 3 days, Darius Cooks was, he had found land and had signed a 25-year land lease and business partnership. Here's it. He was bragging about it. He showed us a picture of this construction paper contract, alleged contract. And it's been full speed ahead since then. Darius Cooks claimed when he first started posting about it, for $100,000, he was going to be able to build in Bali, Indonesia, not only a restaurant, a world-renowned restaurant, and a house. He was like, oh, it's so cheap here. What y'all pay for a shack in the hood, I'm going to be able to build a state-of-the-art restaurant, Michelin star level, and my American-style home is what he was calling it. American-style home in Bali. Anyway, so, and he was also claiming, I'm going to be the first the first soul food restaurant in Bali. No one has conceived of this idea. How do I know? Not based on any research I've ever done, but because Tommy told me so. My Indonesian brother, because they start calling him his brother, and he's nephew Tommy to the D-Hivers. Nephew Tommy, So he's like, yeah. So I'm gonna be the first soul food restaurant in Bali because I'm brilliant and nobody ever thought about doing this. And they're gonna be walking around with Ron DMC Adidas jumpsuits and chains. It was first supposed to be called hip hop. What was it gonna call? Bali's hip hop chicken. Bali's hip hop chicken. Tommy later told him that sounds a fool. So now it's Bali hip hop soul. Or hip hop soul Bali or something crazy. It's still crazy. Anyway, so Darius Cooks, after signing this construction paper contract, and at that point he had put in, I don't know, y'all, maybe $10,000, $10,000. You know, he be lying. You can't take it with a grain of salt. It's somewhere up in there. He had definitely sent some money because he said the land was it $1,000 a month? No. Originally they wanted, it was under $1,000. I think $600 a month for the land lease. He ended up saying, well, what if I pay you $1,000 and then I basically pay you in payments instead, like pay up per year or something crazy, he said. Because he was trying to get out of giving them the whole lump sum of, I think it was going to be $60,000 or something crazy. So they make whatever agreement. I can't remember the details of that. Who cares? He does all that. He done started sending money. Now Tommy is on payroll. Allegedly, he pays Tommy per month to act as the project manager for this build out. They start looking for a contractor or architect rather, and they just going full speed ahead. By the second time Darius Cooks visited Bali, his first trip was in January. Within 3 days, he had committed to all that. He went back in April. By the time he was there in April, he had mock-up plans. He was posting all of these renderings of the restaurant. And then when you look at the new plans, they don't quite look like these, but that's a whole nother story. I ain't gonna dig too deep into that today. We'll talk about that later. I gotta care enough to dig a little deeper for y'all. He was posting these plans. Yeah, he was posting the plans, all this. Oh, it's ready. Swimming pool in the back, cigar lounge, hookah lounge, cigar. Oh, here's the most recent one right here. So yeah, that's supposed to be it now. Whole thing. We'll dig deeper later. And the other renderings, that was the back of his house, and it was all open to the back. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so Darius Cooks finally does what many of us would have done before we rushed out doing those sort of things without investigating where we were going or establishing roots like that for 25 years with a business. He started to actually get to know the country where, and the people around there. He finds out that there's a group of Black people who live in Bali, who are residents of Bali, and they have a group that has events all around Bali called Bali Black or Black in Bali, I think. Black in Bali. He goes to one of these events. he takes Tommy, and they're playing spades and they're talking. And Darius Cooks is there, and he's like, "Yes, I'm a multi-millionaire influencer from the States. I'm extremely rich, richer than anyone here. Even Russell Simmons, I think he's not even as rich as me. He doing a Donald Trump. He doing a Donald Trump. I don't even think Russell Simmons, who's here also escaping America as I am, I don't even think he's as rich as I am. Russell Simmons has never thought about building a soul food restaurant, mainly probably because he can't afford it. So he's there and he's bragging about his soul food restaurant and how extravagant it's going to be and how great it's going to be and how no one had thought about it. And so he's happy that he could oblige them, and they better be so happy that he's there to grace them with his presence and his culinary diabetic-inducing food. And so they're like, this thing on. They're like, Negro, please. We just had a tasting with Gertrude's Kitchen. Yeah, she been hanging out with us. She actually is interacting with the community here. She had a tasting last week. It was amazing. She's actually working on opening her restaurant here. Soul food restaurant. She's a Black woman from Florida. And he's like, but she ain't got no land. She ain't got no land. I got land. So, whereas again, Gertrude's, which is actually the first to start to do research about having a restaurant in Bali and if it would be a viable option, she had already done her case study and her surveying and all of that to figure that out. She done all that, been doing it for months or years or however long. Darius Cooks come there on a 3-day, come there on a vacation in 3 days, decides that he's finna invest in the country he don't know nothing about, which is also why he was telling all these lies about they ain't got no permits, they ain't got no sweet potatoes, they ain't got no crime, they ain't got no realtors, they ain't got everything, because she hadn't researched, as in Crooks. Crooks had not researched at all. He just went there because he saw dollar signs. What? It's cheap here and I can take advantage of y'all because ain't no rules and no laws? Oh, I'm in. So anyway, he then finds out that there is a Gertrude's and it exists, and he's big mad. And what does he do? What he always does to other people who are also thriving and surviving and growing and doing well. You would think a person who's godly, claims to be a Christian, claims to be a person who is led by God and favored by God, you would think when they hear about another person doing good, they would be in support of it. Nah, that ain't how she rolled, though. Darius Cooks, he's going to always try to tear that person down. Exhibit 2953.
Southern soul food restaurant in Bali, not one. There is one.
So this is him. This is cut off a little bit. So this is him finishing the statement about there's no, now even after knowing, because now he's about to go into how he know there is someone else who is working on opening a restaurant there. There's no other Black soul food restaurants in Bali, not one. But he already knows she exists by this point. Why are you saying that? Because you're a hater.
Black Southern soul food restaurant in Bali, not one. There is one that is coming, but it's called Gertrude's. Not even concerned, because anybody who names their restaurant Gertrude's in Bali is in my opinion, is not thinking carefully, because Gertrude's doesn't mean anything to somebody who is living in Bali, who's, Balinese, or somebody who's coming from another country, right? What does the word Gertrude's mean to anybody who's in France, They don't know what Gertrude's is, right? Now, if I'm in Alabama, if I'm in Mississippi, if I'm in Tennessee, if I'm in Georgia, if I'm in Oklahoma, if I'm in Arkansas, and I hear the word Gertrude's, I'm like, oh, I know what that is. That speaks to an old Black woman's name. So that must be like a restaurant or like a soul food spot. But here, it doesn't make sense. This is where cultural appropriation is important, right? This is why I have an Indonesian business partner, because I could run the cultural stuff through him. He knows culture. He don't know soul food. He don't know hip hop like that, but at least he does know local culture. So I could run that through him and say, what makes sense? In fact, you may remember when we first started this journey, it was going to be called hip hop fried chicken. Right? And fried chicken is a thing here, but you can get a piece of fried chicken from a stand. Like right now, I can walk out to a stand and get a piece of fried chicken for like 60 cents, right? So he felt that by calling it hip hop fried chicken, it would sort of cheapen the whole idea, right? It would cheapen it a little bit. And so we don't want to do any of that, which is the reason why we decided to change the name and now call it hip hop soul, right? Which, in my opinion, I think makes beautiful. Nothing wrong with that. So
that was God muting him. The sound muted out.
Again, I just think it's important to understand cultural relevance in a lot of this. And, I can tell you what I know. I know what works in America, but I don't know what works here, which is why I have Tommy, because Tommy knows exactly what works here. Tommy's been doing this for years. He's helped countless other restaurants open. He's just never had his shot because it costs, and he just doesn't have the extra cash, to build from the ground up and do all that. And then he doesn't know soul food. But now, combining the whole bit together, it makes for a perfect team environment between he and I. So that's where we are. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense for you. And we're all good there. Now, I have to go. I'm in the middle of...
Okay, that's good enough. I don't even know what else he says there, but we don't care. So that's him when he first learns that Gertrudes exist. And as you see, unlike normal people, when he finds out it exists, instead of saying, let me learn more about it, let me actually get to know her, there's room for more than one restaurant in this community. And instead of working against her, let's collaborate. Let's see how this can work out. Poppy Cuisine, Alex in Baltimore. I learned you're supposed to say Baltimore, not Baltimore, as I say. In Baltimore. Remember, part of the reason why Darius Cooks got mad at him was because he was like, yeah, we don't fight amongst each other. All of us restaurateurs here, we collaborate, we help each other out, we do events together, et cetera, et cetera. We're not against each other, we're for each other. Crooks has no concept of that. Very ungodly-like, but, have at it. So, whereas Darius Cooks claims that every restaurant has to have what it serves in its name, which is just crazy. Ruby Tuesdays. Is Ruby or Tuesday a food item? Because let me know. I ain't ordered that yet on the menu. So listening to him, no restaurant can have a name that doesn't literally describe, because that's how her brain thinks anyway. But no restaurant can have a name that doesn't describe what they serve in it. However, Gertrude's, unlike how Darius Cooks rolls, didn't make this name off the top of her dome, just in the middle of the night eating edibles and spiraling off of taking a trip in her mind, a mushroom ride. That wasn't how she came up with this. This is actually based in her roots, something he don't know much about, which is part of the reason why we have so much to commentate on. She don't have a good basis, Darius Cooks. So Gertrude's has their story, and here's what it says. Shonda Singleton Taylor has been baking and cooking for more than 20 years, and she started our company in 2009. We began as a dessert company and later ventured into catering. as we grew, we renamed our company Gertrude's Kitchen LLC in honor of Mother Dear, Shonda's grandmother. So there's a reason why she chose this name. It was Mother Dear who taught Shonda how to cook and bake long before she decided to attend culinary school. Something else that Shonda has and Gertrude has over Darius Cooks. She's actually a real chef. She has gone to school for it and not learned from the Food Network and PBS. This is why he mad. Shonda earned her Associates of Science degree in baking and pastries from the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale. In addition, she holds a Bachelor's of Science and a Master's in Accounting and Business Administration, respectively, from Florida A&M University. So he trying to call her dumb for her name. This woman has a degree. Obviously, with this degree, she has learned what they call market research, which she has clearly done because she has been working in Bali, having tastings and all kind of other events that we're about to look at now. This girl. So this is Gertrude's tasting. There's music playing in most of these videos, so I'm just playing them and do commentary.
Homegirl was like, I'm gonna be there, and then I don't know. She hit me up the next day. Sorry, Sunny, I couldn't make it.
So this, I think, was the official tasting that she had in Bali. The one that the Black in Bali group ended up telling Crooks about when they were playing spades, and he's thinking that he about to impress everybody, and they like, oh no, we just had a bunch of great soul food at Gertrude's tasting. So this is the actual event. They have an Indonesian person working with them already. They got the Black folk in Bali showing up already. Like, why this clip? I got a bad clip in here. I guess I didn't edit it. Yeah, I knew it was music. So anyway, they even did an interview. I remember this guy. Let's see. I don't know how loud the music is. I can't remember. It's been a minute since we watched this.
Hi. So how's the food? How are you enjoying the food?
The food was amazing. I gotta give thanks for you for making this food, because I haven't had food like this for maybe close to 10 years.
Wow.
And I live here in Bali, so I've been here for 3 years, and you know, I ask people I know that are Black, and they like, can't help you. So I ain't gonna lie, I was on the verge of tears when I ate the collard greens and mac and cheese.
I know they're a little spicy.
I'm telling you, I'm like, where you been, and what's been taking so long for me to thank you.
Oh,
what's
wow.
been taking this long for me to get to be able to experience this, so thank you.
Okay, awesome.
So she's there again. Shonda is there in Bali doing taste testings, getting to mingling, getting to know, building community, actually talking with the other Black people there. How do you like the food? She's getting the stories. She's learning. She's not there to just be on a pedestal and impart her greatness on people. Like, she's being normal. Then here's some more of her footage while in Bali. This is one of her catering events. Then we have, as recent as Juneteenth, she had a Juneteenth. Again, because of music, we're going to mute it. She had a Juneteenth event with long lines she has there captioned. A long line of people of Bali, both the Black and Bali people and everybody else. She's building community. She's serving the people. They're actually tasting her food. However, let Crooks tell it, and people are waiting on. People are oh, hold on, I gotta add new clips. I'm like, what's happening? Let Crooks tell it, and they're already clamoring and can't wait for his culinary delights, and they are already saying Darius Cooks is the greatest chef to ever come to Bali. Meanwhile, ain't nobody tasted his food though. Nobody tasted his food. What are you talking about? How he claiming to be so great, and everybody can't wait for him in Bali, and fake LED screens going across talking about how great he is, and nobody's tasted his food. Another thing before we move on. Gertrude is doing catering yacht parties in Bali. She has people in Bali. Did I pause? Why is it doing that? She has people in Bali having her doing catering gigs on yachts. Again, what we see is her doing the work, her being in the community. Meanwhile, Darius Cooks is on social media creating drama and telling his American fans how popular he is and how great things are going to be in Bali. Yet he ain't over there doing no work. And the times he went over there, for a month, he was there in April. Cooked every day on live and hawked his crock pots and dildos. Never once did he do a tasting there of any kind. Never once did he say, I'm going to rent out the restaurant that Tommy cooks at, has his cooking class at, and I'm going to cook my American cuisine and have people show up. Never once. But he's so great there. And then the tasting he talking about having, I saw somebody comment that he's been saying he's thinking about having a tasting for his Bali menu in LA. In LA, New York City. Y'all remember that commercial? New York City, LA. I thought you were moving to Bali. I thought the restaurant was in Bali. So what the people of LA think about the Bali menu don't mean a hell of things. It means zero, zip, zero, nada. You're supposed to see this because Shonda has actually gone to school for this. She understands that when you're doing market research, you do market research in the market that you plan to have the business in. Not the market of your cult following. Because yes, he can have a tasting in LA. He already says that LA is one of his places that sells out and stuff too, with the Dining with Diarrhea events, the fan club parties. Yes, he got fans there. But that's not going to help you in Bali. Because, yeah, some of them going to fly over there. The few of them that don't have to get on those Temu payment plans to buy your crock pots and dildos. Because the majority of them got to get on payment plans for that, for $100 skillet. If they got to get on a payment plan for $100 skillet, ain't no way they can afford $1,500, $1,600, $2,000 to fly on over to Bali, and plus expensive. Plus your expensive ass restaurant. We already know your food going to be expensive. Because you're always trying to gouge people. So we know you would complain about kitchen and cocktails having $25 for 2 pieces of chicken. You're gonna do $25 for 1 piece of chicken. I know how you operate. I don't know why they be acting delusional. So long story short, Gertrude, she working it out. Now Darius Cooks says, did I play that clip? I guess it was part of the other clip. It was. In the clip, Darius Cooks says, well, she ain't got no land. They ain't got no building. So she ain't got nothing. She ain't doing nothing. Well, recently, a week ago or so, Gertrude has posted on her social media, opening this week, Gertrude's Kitchen, a soul food experience. Gertrude's Kitchen Bali. So Darius Cooks is officially not going to be, because his excuse, once he found out that Gertrude's existed and that she was there doing the work, Shonda was already there doing the work. He like, but she ain't got no land. I've been talking to people. She ain't got no land. She ain't got no building. And I was like, how he even know? Because he not, instead of building a relationship or friendship with her, he don't know what the hell is going on behind the scenes with her. He don't know if she got a lease somewhere or she building somewhere through gossip. she's opening next week. So hopefully we'll be seeing some posts and all of that stuff. And now, of course, y'all know I'm gonna keep following this story. But great work, Gertrude. Well, she say Shonda, owner of Gertrude's Kitchen. I just want to forewarn you that the spawn of Satan is arriving there January 1st of 2025. You will be, you'll be open for a few months by then. Know that that creep is going to try to sabotage you. Stay prayed up. Get you a few gallons of holy oil. Sprinkle it around your door. And sprinkle it on your computer and your phone too, because where she really mostly attacks people is through the internet. Get prepared for it, friend. Get prepared for it. I'm gonna be over here doing my part to keep it, keep our foot on her neck, and also, make sure the truth is being told. Because she's gonna try to sabotage, lie, dox you, everything else. It's ridiculous. Ask Pinky from Slutty Vegan. Ask Danny Rose from her Center Treats business he stole. There's a whole bunch. That's all I got off the top of my head. You can ask Zeta Cooks too. I think he stole her name. That was his friend in Chicago. All of a sudden he ended up with Darius Cooks. She goes by Zeta Cooks. All of a sudden he ended up with Darius Cooks. He's a thief. The watermelon. Bree Miller. Ask Bree Miller. He stole her soul cake idea. So be careful, Shonda. Just make sure you document everything. So when you create something, go and post it on social media for us. You create a new recipe, you make desserts and stuff, because he's gonna be trying to steal your dessert ideas, guaranteed. And then he's gonna just add a little spin on it. He's gonna add some sugar and herbs de Provence. And then he's gonna say it was his original idea. The difference is he's gonna try to post it like, you be serving it in your restaurants. You ain't thinking, because you don't just live your life on the internet for clicks and views. So you ain't thinking like, oh, let me make sure I document it digitally that I came up with this idea first. You won't necessarily be thinking like that. However, when you're working around a stunt queen, satanic scammer, you want to go ahead and you got to play the game a little bit. So everything you create, just post it on social media. So when I'm doing the exposés, I can say, see, she posted it 5 months before Darius Cooks even acted like he came up with the idea, because that's the game she play. That's the game she play. Okay, moving along. So did we close out this post? We didn't close out this post. Did we do another one too? Did you know that Darius Cooks is claiming to be building the first soul food restaurant in Bali? 78% of you did know that part of the grift and that lie. 22% of you did not know. Now you know. Now you know that this was once again one of his other lies, one of his other exaggerations, that he was going to be the first soul food restaurant in Bali. First of all, it was never true. And we'll go with he didn't know. But even when he found out, he tried to act like he tried to disparage the name of Shonda and her Gertrude's Kitchen restaurant. But this is why you do market research. This is why you don't sign a 25-year business deal within 3 days without fully understanding what's happening around you. Because him saying there was no crime, him saying they don't have candy yams, him saying that there are no permits, there's the police chief is also the landowner. All these things he said was based on him doing zero research. I literally think everything was whatever Tommy told him, he stated as facts without doing any research. But yet he don't think Tommy's scamming him. And that's where we're going next with our conversation. Poll question coming your way. Do you think, hold on, let me copy. Do you think that Darius Cooks is, sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I'm sorry, y'all. My lawn company is going around my house, so I'm trying to ignore but I don't even, y'all can't hear it. It happened once before, and when I watched the replay, y'all couldn't hear it, but it's loud as hell in my ear with them going around the house with the lawnmower store. Luckily, they work quick because it's like 12 of them. Poll question that just went out. Do you think that Darius Cooks is lying about being declared a popular chef already in Bali already. So Darius Cooks, let him tell it. He is already a popular chef in Bali. Everyone is clamoring they already lining outside of the Bali hip hop soul restaurant, even though it's still under construction, but they so excited. Let him tell it. They so excited about it that they already lining up during the construction. They just standing there. They done put tents out there and everything because they can't wait for Darius Cooks to open the Bali hip hop soul because they have never experienced the idea of good food before.
You can't send nobody to take me out.
The other part of this too, this is a two-parter clip. This in this particular clip, we get two grifts in one. Part of the grift that we get, and he starts off with, is he's unstoppable. We know that he's running off to Bali to avoid facing consequences from any criminal activity, etc., that he's been doing. So he's saying, and I'm going now. This is not the first time he said. I played these sort of clips before. We're going to, in the future, put something together where I'm going to show you how many times this fool brags about moving to a different country and how no one will be able to catch him. No one will be able to call the authorities on him or report any of his scamations or anything. No one will be able to hinder his scamming because he's now moving to the other side of the world. He brags about it. An innocent person would never brag about that. You would not be saying, now you can't report me because you're innocent. You have nothing to be reported. Anyway, so he starts off with that, and then he goes into how extremely popular he is in Bali already. Although he has had not nan event, not nan tasting, not nan getting to know the community in a real way, besides going out to eat with Tommy and copying ideas from established restaurants that are already open.
You can't send nobody to take me out. You can't. They can't call the police. The police chief owned the property. The government, the village leader, that's him in the video. He was there. And know my name. Hello, Darius. It's nothing you could do. Nothing. No, you can't call nobody. It's nothing you could do. You can't stop nothing. Nothing. Well, he's a scammer, okay? You can't stop it. That's it. That's it. And let me tell you, everybody want a piece of hip-hop soul. Everybody want a piece of hip-hop soul. Everybody. Everybody. All the drivers, and when you gonna open, and when y'all gonna do this, everybody is excited.
When he's talking some everybody, he's literally talking about people he's run into during his errands. The drivers, yeah, because you're sitting there. Yes, I'm from. They're like, oh, you're here. You're from. You know how they do when many of us have traveled. He act like he the only one who have. Many of us have traveled internationally, et cetera, et cetera. He act like he the only one who has and can. But anyway, you know how it is. You're in the ride share, whatever, and next thing you know, they're, oh, where are you from? How long are you here? You know, that kind of stuff. He's like, I'm a rich multimillionaire black influencer chef, and I'm here to build an extravagant, larger than life soul food restaurant, the first one that's going to be in Bali. It'd be like, oh, I heard there's a Gertrude's coming. Ignore Gertrude's. I'm going to be the first. Like, he's doing all that. And because he had a conversation with a taxi driver, everybody, because he had a conversation with Tommy's wife, everybody's expecting me. It's this girl. No one can wait.
How long? And oh, it's coming. And we heard the black chef. Everybody. And you know the location.
That's like Trump. Show me the crowd. Show me the crowd, crooks. Show me the crowd of everybody who can't wait. Because I ain't seen it. I ain't seen not nan person besides a taxi driver and Tommy's wife and Tommy, because he, it's part of his making money. Show me to everybody. And the construction workers, you're paying them. But show me to everybody. I mean, we see We see Shonda of Gertrude's with lines and people actually eating her food. Those are the people saying they can't wait for her to actually open her physical location. Where your people at? Well, like you said when you were scamming on them the orders from your crock pots and dildos, you actually back to scamming now. I don't know. Where is Tammy? Why aren't these orders being filled, crooks? Why are we starting to see so many complaints about orders not being fulfilled again? And on top of that, I caught wind of a post that it looks like people haven't gotten their refunds from the Three Queens tour. What is happening? Is the money getting that low that you had to start scamming again? Because I was giving you benefit of the doubt that you had grifted enough money that you could start running somewhat of a legitimate business, even though you're a horrible business person and your customer service sucks. But I was just saying, okay, well, at least he's not blatantly scamming like he's been in the past. But it seems like you're back up to your shenanigans because there's a rumbling that I'm seeing. It's too often, too much. Every once in a while, sporadically, I give you a little play with that. But I'm starting to see every day a couple, 3, 4 people talking about you. They waiting for something. People screenshotting stuff. Why are you scamming the peoples with the crock pots and dildos again? Is this Bali restaurant breaking you that bad? Now, we already know the construction cost is 3 times what you originally thought it was going to be. I told you that in the beginning. I know you watch. I told you that in the beginning. But now you're in it. But what you can't do is continue to scam people to try to make up the deficit. We're on you. Let's finish this one out.
Is very important. No, weed is not legal. You could Google that, FYI. The location is very important. So the location.
Also, he claims, we'll cover again. We're not deep diving on certain pieces. It's so many layers. This is the onion for sure. So many layers, so we can't do every layer. But he claims that because this restaurant is being built on this busy street with a bunch of mopeds going up and down and a few cars here and there, that it's going to be this means he's going to be getting so much business because of all the people driving by. I'm like, has this fool never seen a busy street before? I grew up off of a busy street with plenty of stores and restaurants and that failed constantly because wasn't nobody getting out their cars. They were just driving to and from their destinations to the other places. Street traffic don't mean automatic success of a business. I bet Shonda know that though. Shonda from Gertrude's. Why? Because she went to business school. She learned market research. Darius Cooks so full of himself. He don't even use common sense. This is ridiculous. Okay, so we did that. Close out this poll. Do you think that Darius Cooks is lying about being declared a popular chef in Bali already? 95% of you said, yeah, absolutely. But this is part of her grift. Darius Cooks is a hype man. Darius Cooks is a snake oil salesman. Darius Cooks is a Black Trump. He's a car salesman. He has that level of energy. Some people interpret it as charisma, or I should say, some people misinterpret it as charisma, but it's scamation. It's snake oil salesman tactics. So Darius Cooks has grown to the level that he has through the illusion of success, the illusion of transparency, the illusion of being a Christian, the illusion of being a good person, the illusion of caring about Black women. That's how Darius Cooks grew. The illusion of being able to cook, the illusion of being able to bake. That's how Darius Cooks grew to the level that he did, where he actually had some money to be able to do some things that we're watching now. So what Darius Cooks is attempting to do now is give the illusion of people in Bali wanting him there and the illusion of how much success he already has in Bali with no track record of anything, literally. All he's done in Bali is stay in his Airbnb and cook on his lives and cackle with his D-hivers as he always does from the States. And he's gone to restaurants there and done slanderous restaurant reviews, which he also does here. What else has he done in Bali to make him the best chef, the Black chef? How he establishing a name and ain't nobody seen him do nothing but the people online, the same people who are watching him today. Make it make sense. But Darius Cooks creates illusions And then through the false narratives and illusion that he creates, some people who don't know any better buy into it. Oh, he's the black chef. Oh, he's the one that people are talking about restaurants. I mean, he just said everybody's talking about him building a restaurant. Oh, everybody's talking about it? Oh, okay. And then they buy into it. Anyway, one of the lies that he was caught in by a few of the great people over in the exposing groups, Twitter, Lipstick Alley, the Facebook groups, is this this illusion that he was trying to give that he is already so well renowned in Bali, so much so that he went to a club on, was it Tommy's birthday? I forgot. I felt like it was somebody's birthday, but he went to a club. Tommy took him to a club, and he was so well renowned already. Now, this was his second. What's this? I think this was his second trip there. Hold on. Wait a second. Lord, I got too many clips here, and I hate when I can't pull them all in at once. It should be here. Oh Lord. Oh, here it is. I just didn't name it the way I thought I did. So Darius Cooks is at the club, and he puts this on his IG lies. They call IG lies for a reason. He puts this on his IG lies, saying, "Look, they got my name scrolling across the screen in the club with all these hundreds of people down there. Look at what they dedicated to me already." And his D-havers, "Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, they learning you so great like we know. Oh, this is warming my heart." They doing all that. They buying into the narrative that Darius Cooks, after 2 visits to Bali, staying in his Airbnb and going to shove his mouth at every other restaurant, that the people of Bali all of a sudden have recognized him and his greatness. The greatness that we still ain't seen here in the USA. That's why he running from it. That's why he running from here. Well, the great people of the exposed groups broke this down. Thank y'all for y'all hard work. I appreciate it. And the only reason I don't shout out always individually because I don't know who want their info out there. But I appreciate y'all hard work. Oh, Lord, did I bring it in? I should have. Hold on, y'all. Good Lord. I must have been rushing. What the hell? I prepped for the show early. Hold on. How did I didn't make it in here? I didn't double check. Give me a second, because this is important. Do it this way. So here it is. One of the great people of the exposed group did a deeper dive to say, hey, let me look up this club over there in Bali. Since Darius Cooks say, ain't nothing y'all can do when it comes to Bali. I'm unstoppable when I go to Bali. You can't call nobody. You can't see nothing. You can't report nothing. Meanwhile, somebody called the club or contacted the club to figure out how you get stuff to scroll across the screen. She's not as unstoppable as she thinks she is. You can't, you not unstopping the exposing. You might be able to unstop a police raid from the USA, but you ain't unstopping this exposing, girl. It ain't happening. Anyway, so they contact the club. Come to find out, I'll just get a short version of this. Come to find out, they were in the VIP section. They paid to be in the VIP section because, again, it was somebody's birthday. I think it was Tommy's birthday. Y'all correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. Is this so ridiculous? Why is this so ridiculous? Y'all would think I'm making this up like it's a soap opera, like I'm sitting here writing a novel or something. This is real life. Here's real life. Anyway, So come to find out, whoever paid for them to be in the VIP, and it was one of them. Trust me, it wasn't gifted by he not so big that he got gifted the VIP space in this club. Nobody know who the fuck he is. So that didn't happen. They paid to be in the VIP section, just like any of us could if we went to Bali. And because of that, it came with a free one-time LED wording. Anybody could have that going across the screen. I could have said best chef Val B, and I don't cook like that. I could have put the fellowship is in the house. Hey, fellowship from Bali, I love y'all. Val B loves y'all. I could have, any of us could put anything we want up there. That message was not from the people of Vipo. I mean, the people of Vipo. It was not from the people of Bali. That message was from Tommy. What Tommy at? The message was from his brother Tommy. Him. That's who did that. That's why I say best chef Darius Cooks. The wording is a little off. Not make fun of somebody because they, not native to English language, but I'm explaining why I say best chef Darius Cooks. We don't even talk like that. Stunt queen. I'm sorry. Wrong picture. Stunt queen. So, that will close. Yeah, close out the last one. Okay, we almost done. How long have we been on here? Okay, we're doing good time. I love doing these kind of shows at night because I get a little bit more revved up. I have a different kind of energy at night, but I feel like it came to me a little bit, so I'm happy. Poll question we got here. Do you think that Darius Cooks is getting scammed by his Bali restaurant? Do y'all think that with this venture, Darius Cooks is getting scammed? Here's one of the, I don't know if I showed y'all this one. Here's another construction update. I'm gonna put together a more comprehensive video for us on this construction progress, because the way he's even showing it is suspect to me, because it's always like these little 15-second clips of stuff, and I'm like, where's like full-on video? It's like bits and pieces of an update. Ain't that crazy? Look at that. That's the outdoor scene from the pool back there.
Ain't that something? Can you believe this? No, I can't believe it, y'all. I know what I can't believe. I'm finna go to bed.
So I'm gonna mute and let y'all see it again for those of you who may have missed it. So this is allegedly, well, I'm sure this is the space. What I don't know is if Tommy and his people got crooks paying for them to build a church or their family restaurant. I don't know what's really happening here, but something is definitely being built. Something is being built in that particular spot, because I saw people commenting. How we know that Tommy actually building that on the same land? We know that. It's just what's really gonna happen after all of this. That part I don't know. It's suspect. It's some not quite right, in my opinion. However, and I see B Hunt saying a bamboo hut. Now I'm giving some grace and benefit of doubt. Again, I've said it before. I do come from the construction world. I've been trained in it. Was a contractor, was a carpenter apprentice, all that good stuff. So I'm very knowledgeable about construction. However, the difference is I am not as knowledgeable about construction methods internationally. So I can't say for sure, like, oh, this definitely not how it should be done, like I could do here in the US. What I can say is, although things do look a little, the construction methods are very different than what we do here in the U.S. Well, except for like the rebar columns, though that's very much like we would do here. But the use of bamboo and all of that, we don't do that. However, usually the region that you are in when it's related to construction, they're going to use the materials that are more widely available there. And bamboo is not widely available in the US. So I could see why they might be using that over regular stud woods that we would, or even steel that we would use. Some of that bamboo we see is not permanent. It is supports, structural supports. They're temporary. They're up to hold something until it gets completed and everything gets tied together, and then it's a solid structure that won't be moving and all of that. So although it looks like we're walking down a narrow ass hallway that looks more narrow than the hallways in our own houses, and when I first saw it, I was like, oh, something's wrong. This is going to be a mess. But then when I rewatched it, I said, oh, these are structural supports. So those will be removed, and the hallways or walkways, whatever he's walking us through, will be wider once that's done. But again, I don't know what they're building. he say they building his restaurant. Maybe they are, maybe they not. What again I do know is Darius Cooks is a horrible person and a horrible business person. Now he can scam his way through some stuff, that I do know. But I do know that it will flounder. It's gonna be some issues with Tommy, unless Tommy is a complete pushover, a complete simp. That's the only way this will last. The only way it will really work if Tommy is a complete simp and his wife allows him to be a complete simp. Don't know. I don't know. I'm not able to read into the future. Moving on to our next part of this, and we're very close to the end. There's just some random clips as I was pulling the show together that I was like, oh, I got to show them this today. I got to show this too. I had to rename this stuff and I don't know what. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, here it is. This is a short clip. I don't forget what this is. This is something crazy he said. Let's see. I forgot.
Kasia, his wife, was like, you smell rich. Every time I'm around you, like your scent, it lingers. And she said, like, even when Tommy, like the next day or the evening when he picks me up or whatever and we go someplace, she was like, I can get in the car and I can be like, was Mr. D in here? Because I can smell. I was like, really?
Tommy's wife told Crooks that he smells rich. Now, I looked at this in two ways. For one, just like they say about Donald Trump, that all you got to do is stroke his ego and you can get any and everything you want out of him. Darius Cooks is very similar to that. They both have some of the same psychological defects. The other piece is a person say that to me, and that makes me cautious, because do you just see me as money? So then that also made me say, maybe this is a lick for them. Maybe they are saying, oh, we gonna get her. We gonna get her so much. I'm telling her, you smell like money. And you know what? We gonna get it.
Kasia, his wife, was like, you smell rich. Every time I'm around you, like your scent, it lingers. And she said, like, even when Tommy, like the next day or the evening when he picks me up or whatever and we go someplace, she was like, I can get in the car and I can be like, was Mr. D in here? Because I can smell. I was like, really?
And then also, when you think about a person who even feels like that's something to repeat, and he didn't repeat it in a I'm appalled kind of way, like, ooh, this made me nervous. I think they on some slick-ish. He like, yeah, I mean, I'm so successful that people who run into me, even Tommy's wife, they say I even smell. I'm so perfect. I'm so successful that I even emit the smell of richness. It's called cologne or perfume in your case. Huh? What does rich smell? Does that mean you weren't funky that day? What does that mean? What does that mean? And he proud. I mean, he's so gone. He's so wrapped up in money that he like, I have made it. People even say I smell like money. Oh my God, it's like a psychological case study here, y'all. Oh, Jesus, it's a lot. Oh, I can't wait for tomorrow's show. I got a great idea. It's going to be epic too, because we never broke it down like this before. So tomorrow, we'll be back tomorrow evening for that. So make sure you're prepared. About 8:15 or probably 8:15 Central. Y'all get back in here. I'm back. Start getting in here. Okay, so this one is, speaking of the lick, Darius Cooks. Now we've watched this before, but some of y'all missed some of this. And also, we tie these pieces together in a different kind of way. Darius Cooks was warned that this might be a scam, that this was looking like a scam, and that he needed to be cautious. So much so that the driver, his main driver that he had during his first trip ever to Bali in January of 2024, was warning him of Tommy and the people that Tommy rolled with. And the driver was trying to warn Crooks' friends, Crooks' friend who he was with, and Corey, the videographer. They were the two that traveled with him. And the driver talked to both of them separately, trying to warn them, while he was taking them on errands and stuff individually. They go back to Darius Cooks and they say, hey, he's saying, you need to be careful of these people, et cetera, et cetera. And hold on, y'all. Just trying to stop. Jesus. He said you need to be careful of these people and how he needs to be, moving with this. Darius Cooks gets offended and then goes back to the driver and confronts him. So he tells this story where he basically Darius Cooks comes to the conclusion that the driver is the scammer, not Tommy and them.
So the driver, Kadek, that's his name, Kadek. The driver, what's up, Didi? The driver was talking to Corey, right? Because he took Corey around to do some stuff. And he just talked Corey's ear off about this, that, and the third with his broken English, right? And then when he took Valencia to do her stuff, he talked Valencia's ear off, right? La, 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 la. If I'm the one that organized the trip, if I'm the one that organized you, why you ain't talk to me directly? Number one, we be talking about everything else. Why you can't tell me, but you got to tell them, right? So Valencia was like, well, I think he's just looking out for you. Okay, fine. So Corey said the same thing. I think he's just concerned, whatever.
Valencia, his friend who he's known for well over a decade from Chicago, who went there with him, as well as Corey, both agreed that they felt like the driver was just looking out for him. We've talked about this before over here, and I've addressed and expressed, and some of you know because you followed Crooks long enough, that the likelihood that this man felt comfortable coming directly to this arrogant spawn of Satan is very slim. He's extremely arrogant. He's a know-it-all. We see this. What's the likelihood that the guy felt comfortable enough to approach him firsthand? He figured, let me go the route of least resistance, tell his friends who he may listen to, because these seem like reasonable human beings, which obviously they were, because they even told Crooks, I think he's trying to help you out. I don't think he's trying to get you. So they so anyway, he ignores them and then continues with this narrative.
It's fine, you can have concern. So yesterday, we back and forth over text. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth over text. For like 45 minutes. And I don't operate like that. Honey, get to the point so I can move on with my life. So he kept saying, the people are out to get you. You got to be careful. It's a lot of money. Delay the transaction. Then this is what he told me. He said, tell him, the driver said, tell Tommy and them that you're going to delay the transaction. You're going to fly back to Bali with the $3,000. and then you're going to go to a notary and do it in front of a notary. So do it in front of a notary means you give the notary the $3,000. The notary takes their commission and then gives the remaining balance to whoever it needs to go to with legal paperwork, right? But the thing is, the culture is such that whoever is helping you do this, right, they get commission. So if Kadek is the one who's trying to help me, then that means that he gets his hands greased every step of the way. You see what I'm saying? So yesterday we having a conversation. And so I said, you know what? Let me just, hold on. Let me block this person. I said, you know what? Let me just pick up the phone and call you, right? So I pick up the phone and call him. And I said, you're saying the same thing 4 different times. You ain't told me nothing different, and you have not given me a solution, right? At the most, I'm out of $3,000. Girl, I could sneeze $3,000. You see what I'm saying? I could sneeze $3,000. So here I go. I'm like, you ain't told me nothing different. So until you tell me something different, shut up, you know? So then I said, I'll tell you what. Why don't we get on the phone with Tommy? You got concerned. Why don't we get on the phone, me, you, and Tommy? Now, I'm going to spend 45 minutes back and forth. I can show you the text messages back and forth, the WhatsApp messages. Why he refused to get on the phone with Tommy? Refused, right? And so I'm saying to myself, well, if you feel like it's an issue, or you feel like it's a problem, or you feel like it's something that's going on, or something that's shady, why the hell we can't get on the phone with Tommy and sort this out? So I hang up with him and I call Tommy, right? Tommy was like, yeah, that's not how we really work. Tommy was like, let's call the guy. If the guy has now this is Tommy. Tommy's up front, you know, and the landowner wouldn't even do the deal until he saw a signed and notarized contract between Tommy and me that listed me as the owner. That's integrity. You know what I'm saying? The owner was like, well, I don't want Tommy, who's local, to take advantage of you, and you live in America until you get down here. So to protect you, I want to see a contract that shows you as the owner in the business. That way, if anything happens, I know it's above board. Go through this.
So if there's no scamming in Bali and everyone is honest and no crime, zero crime, why would the owner of the land even have that sort of conversation with Darius Cooks unless people are known for corruption and scamming? Like, he don't even be listening to himself. He just be rattling off word vomit.
Okay. So anyway, I called Tommy, right? And when I called Tommy, I'm like, bro, like, you know, they saying so-and-so. Tommy was like, I tell you what, let's get on the phone right now and let's call the driver, right? So we get on the phone to call the driver. All of a sudden, no answer. He said,
so he went to that's just like when people go to Crooks and they're like, they say you scamming. They say you're not giving these people their orders again. What's happening with that? Oh, they lying. They just jealous. Those people been hating on me forever. And that scorned ex of mine, who was actually a friend for 10 years and then a business partner who I scammed out of money. See, he only reporting me because he miserable that I wasn't his friend no more. Like, what? You can't go to the person being accused of and think you're going to get a straight answer out of them, and then you're going to buy what they say. Of course, they're going to justify their actions and say, no, that's not true at all. Darius Cooks does the same thing, and then he goes to the person being accused and then buys into it like his D-hags do when it comes to him lying to them. That stuff is baffling to me. What Darius Cooks say is not true. He say y'all lying. What criminal would admit when they're still getting away with what they get away with? That they're scam, and actually he did admit it. Somebody even caught it. I just wasn't gonna stop the video for it, but he just said in the other clip I played, he's like, yeah, they say you're a scammer, and what they gonna do about it now? When I'm in Bali, what they gonna do about it now? He's admitting to being a scammer. I mean, he has introduced himself in videos. I'm Darius Cooks, your local scammer. People thinking it's a joke. They thinking, he the clapback king. No, he's the grifter. And he's getting over on you because you're not using your critical thinking skills. So he's literally able now to admit to what he's up to, and you still can't see it. That says, I'm not gonna go in on y'all today. Not today. All right, let's finish this clip. We got 2 more and then we out of here. Right? 2 more? Yep, 2 more and then we out of here.
I've been texting you for the last 45 minutes, paragraphs back and forth, back and forth. Now you telling me you on the phone and you can't answer my call? Like, I don't know. So what we believe, what we are coming to the conclusion of is that Cadet realizes, because you have to remember, my first communication with anybody in Bali was Cadet. So he feels like, I guess my loyalty should be to him, right? And so because he wasn't involved with this transaction, he feels like I might be doing it wrong. And in actuality, what I believe is that Cadet want his pocket lined a little bit as well. And instead of coming out telling me, like the truth or what's going on, I kind of feel like he's just like, well, because that's what he told me. That's what he told me. Now, this don't make no.
Now, what he hasn't maybe considered, and I see it's along the lines of what Saint is saying here. What if the driver is in on it with Tommy? It was a play to lure Darius into a false sense of security to work with Tommy. That's a possibility. That is a great possibility. That's a long grift right there. That's a more elevated grift. But also, what if it's similar to what he suspects, that the taxi driver had his own scam planned, and then Tommy and them ends up in this picture, and they take him in a different direction with a different scam. Maybe they both was trying to scam him because he there. I'm a multi-millionaire, internet influencer. Everybody love me, all of that. But the people who accuse me of scamming, they just hate us. But I'm a multi-millionaire. I'm self-made, all of that. He doing all that. They like, okay, let me figure out how I'm going to get some of that. So they could have both been plotting on him for different strategies. And Tommy won out. That could be what happened too.
Goddamn sense what I'm going to tell you. Listen to what he told me. This fool said, delay the transaction and fly back to Bali with $3,000 cash. Okay, you want me to pay $21,000 for a round trip ticket to come back to Bali to put down $3,000 when I could go into a PNC bank and wire it immediately? That don't make sense to me. Where they do that at? Then he gonna say, well, if you can't do it, can Valencia do it? Girl, Valencia's my friend. Valencia got a whole life. No, Valencia can't catch no flight to come back to Bali to drop off $3,000. No, she cannot. So none of what this man was saying made any sense to me.
So, nevertheless, this is Darius Cooks' version. There's always, the truth, unlike what he's telling in his narrative. And so, no matter what, we know it's something shady going on with that situation, whether it's the shade he actually got into or the one he avoided. Both of them shady. But then this next clip just goes to show that there's a tangled web of trying to avoid scammation, or I would say that this is clear that scamming exists in Bali. Darius Cooks in this next clip talks to us about the illegal construction methods that he could potentially employ, as well as contradicts himself and then says that there's no crime in scamming in Bali and corruption. However, he speaks of being able to build the restaurant in an illegal manner, which would include corruption and scamming. So I'm still lost at, well, I'm not lost. She's a walking contradiction as usual. Here we go.
Hey, okay, yeah, inbox me. I want to hear. I was like, what does it cost? Like, what's the financial amount? And so when he first told me, he said between 300 and 800,000, right? And so in my mind, I was like, that's a lot of fucking money. That's $1 million to open up. But I guess if it pay off in the long run, I guess that's cool. Girl, tell me why I'm thinking American dollars. Tell me why he's like, no, that's rupiahs. Girl, that is $32,000. We paying Chantel $24,000. That's between $32,000 and $50,000. I said, are you kidding me? He was like, no. He's like, so what you do if you do it the illegal way? The illegal way is.
You see how low those amounts are? So this was a piece that, as I'm watching it, now in hindsight, saying those prices were really low. He talking about $30,000. Darius Cooks at this point is in supposedly at $300,000. That's a huge difference. But that's the way you pull somebody into a scam and into a grift, is you start off low and you make the deal seem very attractive. And then as they get deeper and deeper in, you start elevating the cost. But now they're so deep in that it's like, they're like, well, if I walk away, I'll put all that in. But if I finish that, if I put a little bit more in, then I'm probably gonna make a lot, I'm gonna make my money back that I've already lost, kind of thing. It's a part of a grift. That's scamming 101. You pull somebody deeper and deeper in the scam so you try to get more and more money out of them before they wake up and and leave. But by then, you didn't got them for a minute.
He was like, you just, you work with somebody and you give them, you give them the money, and then what you do is you make, you start working with a team, you hire the builders, and you have to rent the land, right? So you can't buy land. Nobody that's not Indonesian, even he can't buy land, and he's from Indonesia. He's like half Indonesian, I think half Indian or something like that. His father's from someplace. And he was saying that you have to be a local in order to be able to buy the land. So he was like, you can't buy land. So you rent the land. I was like, you rent the land.
Through some research, I did find that there is a way that a foreigner can buy land in Indonesia. It is expensive, and there's a whole legal process behind it, but it's not impossible. So again, he's taking Tommy's word as law, and then Tommy's sending him off. It's clear based on some of the other stuff he said that Tommy's clearly sending him off, which again starts to make me feel like this starting to seem a little shaky, like scamming. Also, it could be that Darius Cooks is willingly and knowingly doing all of this illegally. And as much as he claims to be transparent, he not being transparent about the part of him choosing to do it the illegal way because he knows he's going to save money. Of course he would.
You rent land and you build on the rent. How much is the rent on the land? Please tell me why the rent on the land was like $100 a month. $100 a month. I was like, wait, so you rent the land? But he's like, yeah, you just pay like $100 a month to rent the land from whoever owns the land. And then he was like, once you do that, then you just get it, you could build whatever. You could build a house, you could build a business. I was like, what about zoning? He was like, there's no zoning laws. I was like, what about permits? He was like, there's no such thing as a permit. So I was like, wait a minute. So as a foreigner, if I wanted to do it illegally, you're telling me I could just send you the money, rent the land, and just hire people to build the thing? And he said, yes. I said, what about like a health department? He said, we don't have one. I said, what about insurance requirements? He said, we don't have them. I said, what about permit? He said, we don't have them.
This stuff doesn't even make sense. For one, people have looked that stuff up, and all of these agencies do exist there. I truly believe that Darius Cooks, because in this story here, and this was recorded, I think back in April, he was saying, and this was before the groundbreaking, he was saying that there were two ways to build this place. One was the illegal way, which he like, but I'm not doing that. I'm just telling y'all how. Why are you investigating so deeply how to do it illegally if that wasn't your plan, if you're not weighing it as an option. Who of us, when we're going about our daily lives, handling business, are asking people, also, can you let me know the illegal way of doing this? Okay, I'm about to buy this car. I know the legal way to do this. Can you also tell me the illegal way to buy this? I mean, I'm just weighing the options. I'm not going to do it illegally. I just want to know. What? That makes zero sense. But what I do believe is that he told on himself, or has been telling on himself, as he does over time, if you pay attention, because this would, if he's building it illegally, it would make sense why we're watching the construction happen in the way that it's happening. For one, there's been some switching of the construction company. The plans have shifted. You look at, he has the people living on the land, again, that could or could not be a part of it. But one of the things that sticks out to me is when Darius Cooks was talking about he is stealing electricity there in Bali, that the workers went to the transformer and tapped into it and pulled power for the site. That then makes sense that if they're doing that, it's probably because they are doing the construction illegally. Because if it was legal, then they would be able to call the electric company out and do whatever needs to be done to have the power put there legally. But if you're building it illegally, then it would make sense that you got to steal the power. And then maybe it's one of those situations of build it and ask for forgiveness. Then you get everything kind of legitimized to some degree. But now it's up and they ain't gonna really have you tear it down. It could be one of those things. I worked in construction. I've done it even. Remodeling somebody's basement in a township where they ain't really supposed to be doing that, and you get it done, and then they like, okay, well, as long as you pay this fine, then fine. Now you got to finish basement. Like all of that. So it could be something similar to that. I'm not sure. It could be something similar to that, but it's very suspicious that they were stealing electricity, and he's been playing around with the illegal ways of building this place. But let's let her continue.
So none of these places got permit? He said no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about this part too. So he's saying there's no permits, no regulations, no rules of whatever whatsoever to build structures, which just totally makes no sense, because they would have stuff popping up, looking all kind of ways, dangerous and everything else, because people be cutting major corners that matter. That's why they do have regulations and permits and stuff. However, Tommy was saying a month or so ago that he had a meeting with the government about the property. Why would Tommy have a meeting with the government if there are no rules or laws concerning this structure, this building, this construction site? Things don't be making sense. We'll find out, but that's all I got right now is like, but Tommy was saying he was going to the government about the building. But I thought you said there's no rules, no regulations, no laws. That makes no sense.
If you wanted to sell liquor, there's a process for that. But most of, other than that, there's no process. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, damn. I said, okay. So then I started asking him more questions like, okay, credit card sales, because people pay with their credit card. I was like, if I wanted to get a credit card machine to accept payments for credit cards, wouldn't, in some capacity, wouldn't I be responsible? Like, how do you do that if I don't have a bank account and ID and all that? I got to get a bank account. He said what they do is, he was like, basically the money would come to somebody else's account and they would give it to you. And I was like, you trust people like that? He was like, it happens all the time. He was like, I can show you, 10 restaurants that I work with. I'm going to get to the legal way in 1 second. Trust me. So he's like, it's like 10 restaurants I work with. I can tell you I got a guy.
I'm about to get to the legal way soon. Trust me. You see how the legal way is like, oh, whatever with that. So how do we do it illegally? And now he all in depth. He done asked a bunch of questions. He knows the ins and outs of the illegal way to do it that he claimed he not interested in. Boy.
Right now, that's from the UK. He don't even live in the UK. I mean, he don't even live here, but his business is here, and he just comes here maybe once every other month. And I was like, okay, that's a little suspect to my American brain. But again, you have to remember that this is not America, right? So I was like, well, can somebody take the money and run? He was like, yeah. I was like, but they don't. I was like, well, why don't they? Listen, first of all, just let me do this.
So he turns off the comments because everybody in even the D-hivers, they like, massa, this don't sound right. It sounds real suspicious. It's too many scamming ideas with this. It's illegal. That don't sound right. You're going to another country. That's too suspicious. You get in trouble over there. And you won't be able to come back. Like, and then he like, I handle this, and then he cuts the comments off. She's a know-it-all. Very arrogant. Can't tell her nothing.
So I was like, because y'all like to talk and not listen at all. And I said that was two ways. You see what I'm saying? I know what I said. So I'm giving you the first way, and I'm going to tell you the second way when I get done with the first way. All right?
They trying to say ain't no sense of entertaining the illegal way. Why is the illegal way even a conversation? That's what he not listening to.
Damn. So then he was like, okay. So then he was like, I was like, that's a little, like, my American brain can't process that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's hard for me to conceptualize. He was like, I know it might be difficult, but he was like, this is the way it works. I was like, but what would prevent somebody? He's like, people don't, like, there's no violence or crime in Bali. There's no gun laws, but guns are illegal. So he was like, it's like,
no violence, no crime in Bali. Although I have looked up and seen YouTube videos of people warning about getting robbed in Bali. I've showed y'all the crime statistics in Bali, maybe lower than some places here in the USA, but there is crime in Bali. There are humans in Bali, so of course there's crime. Blind Saka.
The relationship, people value the relationship. So we're not the kind of people that would do that based on. I said, I don't know. Okay, fine. That's the culture. That's what y'all do, which also kind of makes sense because we was outside at the Ubud over there at the park yesterday, and honey, they tossing with their fingers, honey, it's flies flying around. We went to the market.
So he's saying that when he talked to Tommy about it, he's like, but this sound all suspicious and stuff. And Tommy's like, yeah, see, we don't do crime and stuff over here. It's all about relationships. See, we don't want to ruin relationships, so we don't do crimes because we want to be your friend. And we don't want a chance losing friendships, so we don't do crimes over here. He's like, well, that sound a little suspicious to me. I don't know. But he's like, but it also seemed like it could be true. Because when I went to the market and they had flies, what the hell flies at their market got to do with crime in their country? What does that have to do with it?
Today, I went to the market today. And that market we went to today, this morning, Corey got it all on tape, child. We went to the meat section. Child, it's flies everywhere. I'm talking about literally laying eggs on the meat. Okay? I'm like, yeah, this is a little too Eastern for me. And it smelled really bad. It smelled bad. But this is what they do. It's a different culture. So, I'm here to observe and learn, child. That's it. Now, the legal way. Because I'm like, well, what's the difference between the illegal and legal? Because I need my own credit card settlements. I can't trust nobody with that. Then he talked about it's a lot of money. No, I can't. No. So he said the legal way is you obviously apply for a visa, which he's like, Americans are prioritized like everybody. If you're American, he said American or Russian. Those are the top two. Oh, Australian. American, Russian, and Australian. Right, the top two, because obviously we come from places where our economies are super, super strong. So he was like,
so their country wants to take advantage of people with money. The other thing he doesn't notice is how when they see him, and I guess Americans in general, they're seeing dollar signs from the way that he describes it. None of that makes him think that he's definitely a mark. None of it.
You are, as an American in Indonesia, you're almost revered because, like, you come from a place that has money, which makes sense. If you've ever been on a cruise before, and everybody's been on a cruise before, the workers that work on the cruise, a lot of them.
Everybody's been on cruises. She just makes general statements that make no sense. Everybody's been on cruises. Some people hate cruises. Some people don't like the water. Some people don't like getting on boats. They get seasick and everything else. But everybody's been on a cruise. Everybody.
them are from where? Indonesia, right? So that just goes to show you like the circle of the economic spectrum. So I said, what's the legal way? So he said the legal way is
What? Everybody's been on cruises, and if you've been on cruises, you know that the majority of the people from Indonesia. So that shows you the spectrum of the economic circle. What? Who? Where? What the hell? He just made up words and threw in a couple words that the D-hivers might be impressed. Economic spectrum? That sounds important. He's so smart. He literally said nothing.
this. He said you have to have 600,000 US dollars. You have to have that, and you put that in a bank account in Indonesia. So you come, you open a bank account, then you go back, to the United States or whatever. You wire the money to your own account. As long as you have $600,000 in an account in Bali, in Indonesia, that's all that matters. I said, okay, so then what about like opening a restaurant here? Like, do I get a permit? He was like, no. I was like, see, the only reason you would have the money, the 600K, he said, is because you want to do your own credit cards. And we have other places where we have people who they're not legal, and they come here, but they only here, once a month, twice a month, once, every other, which is great, which makes sense. Because yesterday at the place we left yesterday, she was like, no, I'm not the boss. I just work here. The boss lives in another country. So it's very common here in Indonesia that I'm finding out. And as we were driving through the Canggu section of Bali, he's right. Every place you looked, it was a Subway, foreign owned. It was a burger joint, foreign owned. The club.
Okay, I'm over it. Okay, and then lastly, the last clip before I read your comments is how when Darius Cooks retells, and this is just one of the times, but how when Darius Cooks tells this story that we see is literally appears to be a grift in the making, how he romanticizes it to those who are not informed, have not been paying attention to the day-to-days of it, the hags. And so
we were going to.
He's on this live with one of his hivers who happens to be, from what I gather, some media person from LA. I think they do radio or something like that. It amazes me when I see people who we would normally consider, they got to be intelligent, people who may have some level of prominence in some way, and then to see how easily people can be manipulated by a charismatic snake oil salesman. It just baffles me, but I see it time and time again. So she is another one of those people who has been gaslit and doesn't know it, obviously, clearly.
Tripped out it was. So we were going to look at the land. There's land everywhere, but you can't buy land. You can only lease land for like 25 years. Mm-hmm. So we were going to this other spot, but I saw this and I said, hey, what about this place right here? He said, oh, well, let's stop and let's see. So we stopped, we called, and it was available, right? So we go meet the son. You got to meet the family. You got to sit on the porch, take your shoes off, drink water. It's a whole custom, child. It's, over here, you send a text message, deal done. Oh. You know what I mean? Over there, right. Like, you got to go bow.
They got to vet you.
Yeah, you got. So we wait for the father to come home. Uh-huh. And, they talk in their language, girl. I don't understand. I'm listening for my name. I don't know what they talking about. They back and forth, laughing. Right. I mean, they're having a full. I'm just sitting there like looking like bump on the log. You understand me? So listen.
So these men, this is when he went there to sign or try to get the land, the land lease. He goes there, and Tommy and the other men are talking, and they're talking in Indonesian. And he don't understand what they saying. And they carrying on full conversations, laughing at they mark and this next lick and everything. And he has no idea what they're saying. None of this is making him uncomfortable. None of this is making him say, Tommy, could you at least be translating what's happening here? None of it. But he's romanticizing this. That's not a red flag to him in this story.
So the father comes in with the scooter and this gray security shirt and these little dingy pants. And I said to myself, now, wait a minute, sir. This deal is about to be quite a bit of money, like $200,000 to get this land. Y'all have no money. This don't look like it's nothing to me. I can't, normally you got a diamond on your hand or something, He says to me, he laughs. My business partner, he laughs. He says, this is actually the police chief of Bali. I said, wait a minute. You mean to tell me we finna rent the land from the police chief of Bali? God, thank you for securing this for me. Because I'm like, I don't know these people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But this is the police chief. And let me tell you how cool he was.
So Darius Cooks then sees the owner of the land who pulls up. He comes home on a scooter. Darius Cooks is like he got on a gray shirt and dingy pants. And Darius Cooks becomes very nervous because he's like, oh, this man don't look like he got no money. This is looking like this some kind of setup. What is happening here? And the man says, no, not the man. Tommy says, don't worry about it. He's actually the chief of police. Darius Cooks takes that as, this means Lord is protecting me because the man I'm renting the land from, allegedly, is a police chief. That means I'm protected. How does that mean that? Are police chief never corrupt? Can police chief never be a scammer? How does that protect you? How does that protect you? How is that a sign from God? On top of that, nothing about him looks chiefish, police-ish, or chiefish. And you are assuming that what Tommy told you is true just off face value. Crooks claimed that was the police chief. He even posted it on his social media. However, when people looked up the actual police chief, was this the picture here? But when people looked up the actual police chief, looks nothing like the guy that he allegedly was pictured with. I think that's I don't know how small. Is it too small for y'all? But anyway, this is the picture where he captioned that this was the Tommy, the police chief, and the police chief's son. However, when people Googled the police chief of Bali, I don't know if this is the current guy or the first. I think this is the current guy because there was a different guy too, and they like changed hands earlier this year or something. This guy doesn't look like the guy in the picture. Also, this guy, as a police chief, doesn't look like he would be returning home in a dingy gray shirt and some dirty pants on a scooter. This man looks like he would have a police vehicle of some sort, and maybe possibly as highly decorated as his outfit is, he might even be driven home. But I don't know their culture like that. Darius Cooks just says police chief came on a scooter, gray shirt, dingy pants. But anyway, let's continue with his romanticized version of this story as he tells his dehiver.
He said, we could do this. He said, but a couple of things. One, before I say yes, I have to see a contract between you two stating that I am the owner, not Tommy, because Tommy lives here. You know what I'm saying? So I said, okay, cool. Not a big deal. We're going to get that done. We got it done, notarized everything. Then he said, you have to put an altar in the front so God can bless the business.
Amen.
Consider it done. Then he said, if you hire any Hindu, you have to have a room, a place for them to pray.
For them to pray.
Done.
Yeah.
Done. So that's how it worked. That's how that's how it happened. And now I'm back here for a month. Like, just,
wait a minute.
Getting.
So that went on. I guess we'll cover that one day. But that conversation between the two of them went on for about 20, 30 minutes. I have the whole thing, but that was the purpose of it was that piece of it. So again, Darius Cooks has romanticized. Now we've seen some of the reality. Again, this is kind of quick overview highlight clips. but we've seen the realities of what it appears to be like and how it looks very sus. But let him tell it when he retells it, where he can adjust the narrative. It's all romanticized. God opened up the heavens, and then he cast down the land, and then he made the land $10 a month, even though he later says he pays way more than that because he paid more so that he could not have to put so much money up front or something. Anyway, close out this poll. Do you think that Darius Cooks is getting scammed by this Bali restaurant venture? 90% of you say yes, 10% of you say no. I'm still like, it looks very, very, very shaky to me. But because I just don't know for sure, I'm just going with something ain't gonna go right. That I do know. That I do know. Oh, this is from earlier. Thank you so much for clarity. Trump has 2 brothers and 2 sisters. He has 1 sister still living. Okay. The F what the hell do McDonald's mean to any Americans? People still eat there. Right. With Darius Cooks narrative that if a restaurant doesn't have what it is in the name of it, then people won't eat there. People won't be curious. McDonald's, a McDonald is not a food item. He acts like there is no fried chicken in Bali. Yeah, craziness. If he knew what worked in America, then why are all his restaurants closed? Why does he not have a successful franchise here in America? Right. If he was so brilliant at at being a restaurateur, I would give him more benefit of the doubt if his restaurants here were still opened and then he was expanding to Bali, as Shonda at Gertrude's is. Shonda has her established business in Florida currently still and is expanding because she got the 2 social media pages. She's expanding to Bali. She didn't lose her business in the States and then try to start all over again years later, regrifting and reinventing herself into building a new restaurant like everything else she's done in life is perfect. That's not what Shonda has done. When Darius Cooks restaurants were open here in America, they were doing very poorly as far as a lot of critiques of they weren't, for one, as making as much money as he claimed, because he said, I had restaurants making millions of dollars, each one of them. No, they weren't. You lying. I forgot. The longest one was Greens and Gravy, and wasn't that 3 years? And the other 2 were under 2 years. Under 2 years. That's not successful. You didn't even break the 5-year mark. That's the failure rate of most most restaurants. You're right. You're average at best. That's average. Now, had you broken the 5-year plus mark, then we could start to say, oh, maybe he had some skills and he truly did close it because he wanted to shift gears and all of that, even though he said it was his mental health. That means you couldn't handle it. It was too much for you. Again, the only way that this Bali situation will work out is if the most of the weight falls on Tommy, which it will, and if Tommy is willing to be a simp and allow that. That's the only way this is going to work out long term. Gertrude's has culture behind it and true meaning. Crooks is just in it for the money. Absolutely. That's a great way to sum it up. Absolutely. He just admitted to being a scammer. Right. It works both ways. If there's no laws, he has no protection when a corrupt official comes to him and says, if you want to open with no license, no permits, then you have to pay to play. Exactly. Those are the things he's not thinking about. Because I don't think he's going to be able to wreck shop the way that he does here, operating illegally and being able to skirt the law. I just don't believe that they're going to play those games with him out there. CJ says a lot of people have been refunded. Oh, I'm sorry. A lot of people haven't been refunded. I saw that a while ago. We knew that that was going to happen. Yeah, I was missing it. I was missing it. And I see here your other one is We should have kept up with the refund watch 2024. We could bring it back, friend. We might have, might be delayed, but we can still bring it back. So I'm gonna start paying attention and see what receipts I can gather and see how much it is. But yeah, I definitely want to be pointing that out, that is active, because that's honestly one of the things that concerns me the most, bothers me the most, is him continuing to grift off of new people. And I know some of us have, there's some views out there like, well, they keep buying from and they deserve what they get. And sometimes I can say, I can't 100% disagree with that. But also, I still don't want to keep enabling him, because there are some of those people have blindly gone into it and gotten scammed. Some of them do know that all the allegations, but there are some who don't know. They missed it because they're new to following. They saw them on TikTok or something and they ain't seen the hashtags yet or whatever. So I like to give some level of grace. Don says, Project 2025 refund watch, right? But yeah, so I'm gonna I do have the other, so I'm gonna work on something. I'm gonna work on something so I can keep that on our radar. And hopefully, like we were able to do the first time, we kept calling it out so much that he was starting to do the customer service lives, and people, it was coming down on him so hard that he was actually trying to mitigate some of the scamming damage that he was doing. We'll see. In a minute, there's going to be this is a good one. Chocolate is saying, in a minute, there's going to be a mysterious fire at the warehouse. He's gonna come out talking about he has no idea what happened. That's not far-fetched at all. We have talked about this before, because what we all found suspicious, those of us who do remember and know, was last year sometime, Darius Cooks was bragging about how wealthy he was and started to run off a list of his assets. And one of the things that he included as an asset that was extremely suspicious to all of us, the majority of us, was he also stated, I got a car, I got 2 houses, I got this or whatever. He's running it down. And he says, and I have a $4 million insurance policy on the warehouse, on the products in the warehouse. It's like, who talks about their insurance policy as an asset? Like, you don't get the insurance policy unless there's a claim. Like, it's not really considered an asset unless you have to claim it. Then it goes in your bank account. So it's very suspicious. Who talks about their insurance policy as money that they have in the bank? Unless you plan on using it as a bank account in the future. And it probably will be his it's probably a part of his exit strategy. And true, he could commit that kind of scam, and now he would be in Bali, and extradition, might be a little more complicated or whatever. So this is not a far-fetched statement. Some of y'all are like, what Chocolate talking about? No, Chocolate on to something. How long before he starts making excuses before he pull out? There's another good one, B Hunt, because this is what Darius Cooks is very known for. If this Bali thing, he starts to realize he got scammed, or it's not going his way, or the corruption finally comes down on him and he got to pay to play and all of that, and he don't want to pay what they talking about, he will pull out. Question is when. Will it pull out before it actually opens? Will it open and flounder after a few months or a year, and then he creates an excuse and pulls out? I made Tommy bat me out or whatever. All of it. We'll see. Y'all know Crooks way too well. Saint Center saying, but remember, Val, he doesn't think they have electric bills. Right. That was the other part of him stealing electricity. I put out a short and all that about it, where he was saying that in Bali, he don't think they have electricity bills. This it's just like, actually, I think I have it. I think I have it right here. Oh, do I have the full one? Oh, that ain't the one. Do I have the full one though? Let me see. If so, we're gonna play out on this. I know I got part of it. Oh no, I didn't pull it. I ain't gonna worry about it. I didn't pull it in. But yes, Darius Cooks says in the clip that there's no he don't think they have electricity bills in Bali. Alice is saying they have no pow laws, but POWs are illegal. Right. So he's saying they have no laws about weapons, but weapons are illegal. That makes no sense. How would they be illegal if there's no laws about it? This again is the double talk. Oh, I ain't have it on screen. This again is the double talk that Darius Cooks does, that a lot of people he be rambling and they just let it go. Just don't pay no attention to it. Oh Lord, I got real far behind in y'all coming. I was trying to find one of them and realize how many I didn't see. Big Win is saying, I see a fire in his future. I don't put it past him at all. The only thing would be there's no guarantee he'll get the money. Like he could end up in that, like a Tim Norman situation where he then committed this crime for the purposes of insurance money. And then after they investigate, you don't get nothing in the first place. Because again, keep in mind the person who he is online putting everything out there. Well, somewhat, because he's not really as transparent as he acts like he is. So do we know anything about how insurance liability works in Bali? I can see Crooks trying to use that as a way out. Yeah, I have no idea. It seems very loosey-goosey because of the fact that those the construction workers walking around with sandals on, and yeah, ain't no telling. I have no idea how all of that's working out there. But anyway, I thank all of you for joining me this afternoon. Again, we will be back tomorrow evening around 8:15 p.m. Central. Please hit that like button if you have not as of yet. It is free to you, but it is invaluable to me and the growth of this channel. Also share this content if you have not as of yet. And thank you to everyone who has donated via Cash App or any of the other means. It is greatly appreciated. It's not required, but greatly appreciated. So with that, until tomorrow, you all take care, enjoy your evenings, and be blessed. Peace.